Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I want to thank you for joining me. Now, yesterday we were discussing detaching, specifically from these titles, right? From father, mother, brother, sister, friend, childhood friend, best friend, son, daughter. All these titles which we get so attached to. And so, one of the things that I was reflecting on was that when we're detaching from these people that no longer benefit us, from circumstances that no longer benefit us, one of the things that we do is that we reflect. We reflect how the relationships are affecting us, how our behavior is affecting us, what is producing in our life, or what it is that it is destroying, right? And so, a way that we can go ahead and decipher if these people are beneficial for our well being, it's when we are able to see if they too have the ability to reflect. Usually, when people are inflicting hardship on us, when they're inflicting pain on us, they continue to repeat cycles over and over and over again. And these cycles, even if you speak about them, even if you stand up to them, even if you express to them how they make you feel, these people, no matter what title they hold, and if they do hold a strong title like a mother, a father, someone very close and near and dear to you, husband, wife, child, right? They feel like they have the right to be able to be the way they are because they have that position in your life, right? And so, one of the things that I've noticed and I've experienced this as well is that these people don't have the ability to reflect. And the reason being is that they have been overcome by these unclean spirits. And so although they look normal in their vessel, they just look like you and I, right? What's operating through them is no longer them. And a way that we can measure this is by their ability to reflect, their ability to change, to have significant change. Because anybody could come in and say, I'm going to change. I know you're right. We know how that story goes, right? But then later on, they'll be right back at it, right back at it. A few weeks pass by, a month pass by, and then they'll be back at it, right? Because they're master manipulators. They're good at their craft, right? And that's because of the spirits that are operating through them. But if over lifetimes, because usually when we're detaching from these titles, and I'm going to be very specific, when we're detaching from titles such as mother, father, son, daughter, sibling, right? These are people who are near and dear to us, who we like. For me, I'm a family woman. I love the idea of family. I love unity. And so for me, that was one of the things that I've always had a hard time detaching from, because what I wanted most was a family that was united. And so when I had to detach, the cycles had been repeated so many times that in the last few cycles, I already knew how the script was going to be played, because it had been so. It's like when you watch a movie over and over and over and over again, and you already know what such and so is going to say, and you know what they're going to do, and you're able to recite that. So that was what was happening. That's what happened with me. I already knew what was going to be said, how people were going to act, who was going to be removed, what challenges I was going to face, because this was something that had been done since I was a child. So it was over and over and over and over and over again. And it was so shocking to me still that I continued to allow these cycles to happen, right? But I already knew how it was going to turn out. And so after so many cycles, I was able to say, you know what? This is not normal. This is not okay. This is not okay. And because of the pain and the damage and the suffering that I had endured, I was able to continue to move forward. And I was able to put a mirror on my face and not look at them as to why are they like that, but why was it that I was allowing this to continue to happen over and over and over again. And so what I noticed was that not only was I allowing it to happen in relationships with like family members, close friends, but it spread outwards into other areas of my life where the same things were repeating itself in different vessels. And that's how I came to realize that the issue wasn't them. It was what I was allowing, right? And so one of the things that I realized was that a lot of these people with these titles, specifically the closest and most dearly ones to me, they didn't have the ability to reflect. They didn't have the ability to make meaningful changes. The reason being was because they didn't care. They were unconsciously operating through life. And if they were conscious about the negative things that they were doing, and they enjoyed it. Right. And because I was able to identify this, and so for me, it was very extreme because I allowed this to continue for like decades. Right. Like it was a long time. It wasn't just like a 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time, 5 time, 6 time. No, it was like over 17 times. It was a long time. It took me a while. But we're here now. So some people walk unconsciously doing these type of things, and they think that that's just who they are, that because of the things that they've gone through, they became the person that they are, and that it's okay for them to not have emotions and to not care about how their actions are affecting other people, and they feel entitled because of the titles that they hold in people's life, right? And they think that they're supposed to be treated a certain way, and that they're supposed to be a certain way, and that that's just how they are in reality, because they were wounded themselves as well at a certain point in their lives, and they didn't have the ability to reflect back then and heal. What happened was that opened them up to be a vessel in which low vibrational energies can attach to them. And so these unclean spirits attach to these vessels, and what happens is the more that they indulge in their low vibration, the more these low vibrational energies can occupy the vessel. And these low vibrational energies, unclean spirits, they penetrate the vessel to such a point that they consumed their brain and their thinking. And so these individuals, they think that they are the ones thinking and operating their vessel, but in reality they're being influenced by these unclean spirits who have overtaken them. And this is why they don't have the ability to reflect, and they don't have the ability to have emotions and feelings. I had to work a lot in mastering my emotions, to the point that I still do, but I've gotten better. I have gotten a lot better. But our emotions are our connections with, is our connection with God, right? So if we don't have emotions, that's a way to see that we need to do some work on ourselves, because it's not normal for us not to care, for us not to have any type of feelings. It's not that's not normal. That is, if you can relate to this, where you don't have emotions and you just don't care, a lot of healing work needs to be done, because your connection with God is a direct reflection of how emotional you are when it comes to other people. And that doesn't mean you let other people walk over you. You have boundaries, but you need to have emotions. That's your direct connection to source.